me, your man, Louie T. Welcome to the Command Post. You know what it is. Post up. Take command. I, of course, am your Commander-in-Chief, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. I'm a little perturbed today, man. I'm pissed. All right. So we're going to attack this Jim Irsay, John Keim, Andrew Luck shit from all angles, okay? Every last single angle you can think of, we're going to attack that shit today. And I didn't think this deserved a video. I saw this over the weekend. I saw the Commanders name Sam Howell, number QB1. None of that shit deserved a video. These are things that we already knew. We knew that the Commanders, reportedly, John Keim put this out here in the atmosphere last year when we were contacting every single team about every single quarterback. We even called the Chargers about Justin Herbert. We called the Bills about Josh Allen. We called the Chiefs about Patrick. We called everybody. We were tripping. I told y'all we were tripping last year, straight cold tripping. So I'm not surprised if these numbskulls actually reached out to Andrew Luck. We'll get to that a little bit later on, though, because I want to focus on, I want to keep the main thing the main thing. Because even if we did some stupid shit, which I think we did, this doesn't need to be something that is punished. So I'm going to start with public enemy number one, Jim Irsay. Those of you who know me know I can't stand Jim Irsay's ass. And there's a lot of things that I could say that are not nice that I'm not going to say because I don't want the bad juju. I'm just not looking for it. I'm not looking for the smoke. Karma, she doesn't miss. And I'm not looking to put my name on her list. So I'm not going to even go there. I'm just going to say that he hasn't aged well. And we know all the reasons why. However, that I don't need to attack the man's character, assassinate his character or anything like that. That's not why we're here. I just want to talk about him being a bitch ass dude. Let's call him a bad. That's not normally how we term this, but for the sake of this program, we're going to keep it clean. Let's call him a bad, a bitch ass dude. I'm sick of Jim Irsay being a bad. All right. Even when he was on our side, I was, man, shut your dumb ass up. Even when he was spewing that Dan Snyder shit, which we were over here rooting like hell from the sideline. I still was like, in the back of my mind, I was like, man, shut your ass up. I don't want to hear shit from your bitch ass. I knew this day would come when I would feel that way again about Jim Irsay. He was just starting to get brownie points with me. I was just starting to ease up on his monkey ass. Just starting to ease up. And then some shit like this happens. So if you haven't seen the tweet from Jim Irsay, so first of all, let me give you some backstory for those of you who are not aware, because I'm right now, I'm assuming that you know what's going on, and I shouldn't do that. Because a lot of you aren't on social media. A lot of you aren't following the ancillary bullshit that goes on with this team, because so much of it happens. You're now numb. You're jaded. So now when things like this transpire, you're not even paying attention. You're like, just wake me up when the football starts. When you talking some football shit, hit me up. That's what I want to be here for. I got you. But you need to know about this one. If you're going to skip out on all of the bullshit that transpires during the offseason, that's fine. Don't skip out on this, because we could actually lose some draft picks over this shit. So you might want to listen up. So John Keim, ESPN reporter, covers the team, has been doing it for decades now. Okay, he goes all the way back to the 90s, I want to say. Mid-90s, John Keim has been covering his team as a beat reporter, okay? I don't want to kill John Keim for this, because Keim is a good dude. But I know he knows better. And as a reporter, one, it is your job to break news. So you do have an obligation to your employer that if you get something juicy and salacious, you put it out there because that brings traffic to your employer's site. So I get that on one hand. I don't think that's what John was trying to do here. And I think how he acquired this information didn't necessarily necessitate him telling everybody else this information. So what do I mean by this? So John Keim put out a tweet I want to say this was last summer. Okay? Because we were clowned last offseason for reaching out to all these quarterbacks. We were the butt of jokes. And I remember very vividly saying, Ron doing too much. Remember, I talked about Ron doing too much last offseason. He was doing way too much. He was banging on doors. He was ringing lines. I'm like, Ron, calm down, bro. Calm down. He was like, nope, I'm going to find a quarterback. And he still ain't get shit. Keim put out a tweet, I believe, last year. And it pretty much, we felt like in the moment, was harmless, where he pretty much said, and it might not have even been a tweet. It might have been in one of his podcast episodes. And I think you said this is a throwaway line. Hell, Washington even, reached out to Andrew Luck to see if he was willing to come out of retirement. Now, again, I'm not going to kill Keim for this, but Keim is a smart dude, and he knows that if Andrew Luck came out of retirement, he would be property of the Indianapolis Colts. His contract belongs to the Indianapolis Colts. Any other football that he would play would have to first start in Indianapolis, or at least, if he's not going to play for the Colts, a team would have to then negotiate with Indianapolis to then get the rights to Andrew Luck in his contract, because he retired a Colt. So you can't circumvent that process. You can't go past the Colts and straight to Andrew Luck in hopes that he'll want to play for your downtrodden franchise. Like, there's so much to that we'll get to later on that it's not even funny. But the fact that Keim threw that out there knowing that could be a penalty, shame on him. Now, I'm not going to beat Keim up because, again, he probably didn't think anything would come of this. He probably was like, this is how desperate they are. That was all he was trying to convey, is look how desperate they are. They reached out to a dude that has no interest in coming back and hasn't played football in X amount of years and doesn't plan on playing football, but they reached out to him anyway. That's the kind of due diligence that they're doing right now, and that's how desperate they are. That's what Keim was probably trying to convey. But Keim knows better. You know that that's a penalty. He's under contract, technically, to another team, so you can't talk to him. You know that. So I'm a little disappointed in Keim that he would put that information out there, because that's what started all of this shit, is that Keim put that information out there, right? And now, all of a sudden, because the Eagles were able to go after the Cardinals for tampering, the Dolphins were able to go after the 49ers, or excuse me, not 49ers, the Buccaneers. Who did the Dolphins get for tamper? Or excuse me, the other way around. The Buccaneers were able to get after Miami for tampering with Tom Brady. And so, because all these other teams were able to get into the tampering business and get teams slapped on the wrist, now Jim Irsay wants to jump into the pool, right? And my whole thing on tampering is if it affects your team, by all means, please pursue it. Knock yourself out. If it doesn't affect your team, why are you being a bitch about it? Straight up. So in the case of the Eagles, they poached a defensive coordinator away from them that they wanted to keep, that they tried to make the highest paid defensive coordinator in the NFL. And he wanted to go be his own man, and you understand that. But the Cardinals went about it the wrong way. They attacked him before the job was done in Philadelphia. And you could argue that Jonathan Gannon did the worst job he had done all season. Look, I didn't believe in Jonathan Gannon, and I saw that coming a mile away. And every Eagles fan saw it as well. Anybody that had been paying attention to the Eagles knew that he wasn't a good defensive coordinator. So it wasn't a shock to anyone that he got lit up on the scoreboard in the biggest game of the season, but it didn't help that he was distracted and talking to the Arizona Cardinals and preparing himself to move on before the job was done in Philadelphia. So the Eagles felt some type of way about that, because if he calls a better defensive game, they beat the Kansas City Chiefs and they're the Super Bowl champions. But he didn't. And they feel like because Arizona came in too soon and too strong on their guy, it cost them a chance to win a chip. They have every right to be pissed. They have every right to go after Arizona. They have every right to see if the league can slap those boys on the wrist. And they did. Miami came after Tom Brady aggressively. Had been coming after Tom Brady for years, it felt like. Well, the Buccaneers said, look, God damn it. He's our guy. We just won a Super Bowl. We know that it's just a rock throw up the street. You trying to get him to stay in Florida. He loves the weather here. You want him to come to Miami. We get all of that. But he's in Tampa. Leave our guy alone. So you can understand why the Buccaneers felt like, hey, these dudes are habitual line steppers. They out of line. They out of pocket. We got to do something about this. They keep coming after my guy. So you can understand why the Buccaneers were pissed off and wanted something done to the Dolphins. In this particular case, what is the benefit? What is the benefit? Andrew Luck is not going to play football ever again in the National Football League. What is the benefit of you coming after any team that talks to him or his aide? He's not coming out of retirement to play for any other organization. If he does decide to come out of retirement, it's going to be to play for the Indianapolis Colts. You've made sure of that anyway. And that's how it works. You know how this works. So you have nothing to be worried about. Like some team's going to swoop in and sweet talk Andrew Luck and make him want to come back and play for that particular team. And he says, hey, I'll come back, but only for this team. That's not going to happen, and you know it. So why are you so bent out of shape about somebody trying to talk to Andrew Luck? You just want to get somebody in trouble at this point. Like, where's the psychological sense in that? I just don't understand what you stand to gain from that. You trying to teach teams a lesson? You know, this sends me down memory lane. This is why this kind of triggers me a bit. Because people that exhibit these behaviors, they rub me the wrong way. People that like to snitch for no reason. It's one thing if the snitching is going to benefit you. If some of y'all say, hey, it ain't never cool to snitch. That's easy until you get into that situation where they telling you, hey, either you with us or you against us. Either you about to do 35 years to life for something that you were just in the car for, that you didn't even know was about to go on, but you was there. So we going to throw you in here for this murder? Or you going to start talking and give yourself a second chance at life? And a lot of people don't believe in that, but it's easy to say that until you get into that situation. Easy to say what you would or wouldn't do. If you in the game, then you know the rules to the game. Then play. But if you ain't in that game, if you ain't in that life, I never fault people for doing what's best for them if you're not in that life. Okay? There are consequences to everything. But people who snitch for no reason, just because, right? If it doesn't benefit you, I'm not mad at the old lady that lives in the neighborhood that used to be a nice neighborhood. The thugs have taken over, right? The gangsters have taken over, and it's not safe anymore. And she gets an opportunity to pop one of those boys, right? Snitch on them and maybe get them locked up. I ain't mad at her. I ain't mad. Because that's affecting her everyday life. But the person that has nothing to do with that, where it's not affecting you, right? I got an issue with you snitching for no reason. Now, there's certain circumstances and there's certain things that, look, if you can get somebody in trouble that's doing bad shit, I get all of that. But this isn't one of them. This is football. This is a sport. This ain't life. Okay? Different circumstances here, okay? I was in the 6th grade. I'll tell y'all a quick story. Probably shouldn't even tell y'all this, but what the hell? I was in the 6th grade. First day of school. First effing day of school. I was a good kid. Okay. I was a good kid. Okay. And I didn't say crazy shit. I didn't do bad shit. I was very sheltered in elementary school. We went to an elementary school that really only had about 3 or 4 different neighborhoods that went to the school. And so I knew every single kid in the school. We didn't have like 5 or 6 or 7 different neighborhoods dumped into our elementary school. It was just like 3 of our neighborhoods. And so I knew every kid. And, you know, we were some good kids. You know, we did bad shit, but it wasn't nothing, you know, high on the Richter scale of bad shit. You know, we didn't say too much bad shit. You know, we weren't knuckleheads for real. We were just kids being kids. So I get to middle school and I got a culture shock. I started to go to school with all these park kids from these rough ass neighborhoods that I had never went to school with. And I saw an immediate difference. I'm talking about 10 to 12 different neighborhoods just dumped into my middle school. And these are some badass motherfuckers, right? And so I'm realizing, I'm clutching my pearl. I'm like, oh my God, it's not safe in here. What do I do? Right? So now I'm going into full defense mode. Like, all right, how do I protect myself? How do I blend in? Like at this point, you just trying to fit in. Like, okay, I don't want any smoke because I'd hate to have to break a dude off here that I don't know, because I don't know if that's an extension of somebody else. And then all of a sudden I got beef with 30 dudes and I just wanted to punch one dude in the face. I don't know what I'm getting myself into. So I just want to blend in. So first day of school, I meet this dude, this kid, funny as hell, right? I'm like, yeah, he looks like he could be an asset. He looks like he could be a dude I could kick it with. Funny as hell. So if you have small kids, now's the time you probably want them to either cover their ears or you want them to exit the room. I don't say things like this on my program very often, but for the purposes of this story, I have to say it. And it's not that bad of a word, but it's bad enough. So I'll give you a chance. So first day, we having fun, talking shit to each other back and forth. And he tells me, man, suck my dick. I was like, whoa, wait a minute, time out. You know, I wasn't ready for that. I've never told anybody to do that before. What are we doing right now? He was weak when he said it to me though. So I'm like, maybe that's some way that you joke with other people. I don't do this, but hey, when in Rome, you do as in Rome, right? So later on that day, we were playing around and I said it back to him. And this old ear hustling ass trick, we're going to call her LP for purposes of her remaining anonymous. I want to say her whole government, but I'm not going to do that. There's no need in doing that. Again, I don't want any bad juju. So we'll just call her by her initials, LP. Her old ear hustling ass hears me say it, and she decides, I'm going to tell. I'm like, whoa, time out. I don't even know you. 1, I wasn't talking to you. 2, where's the benefit of you snitching on me right here? What's the point? So turns out that the dude I said it to was one of her friends from elementary school, but I said, hey, get your girl, right? Get your mans, get your girl. She about to snitch on me. He's like, I got it, man. Don't worry about it. So he goes and tells her, we were just joking. No need in you diming him out. Like, he's good peoples. She didn't care. She still told on my black ass. And I got a conduct notice on the first day of middle school. Who does that? Who gets a conduct notice on the first day of elementary school? I didn't even get to defend myself. The teacher just wrote me up. I'm like, you didn't even know if I said it. You just listening to her? I wanted to punch her in her face is what I wanted to do. Because that had nothing to do with her. It didn't impact her at all. She had no reason to snitch. There was no benefit to her at all for snitching in that moment. Fast forward to Jim Irsay. Here's the tweet that he sent out. And this tweet reads, if any NFL team attempted to contact Andrew Luck or any associate of him to play for their franchise, it would be a clear violation of the league's tampering policy. Thanks, Jim. We appreciate that. Thanks for the public service announcement. All right. So, this tweet, translation. If we find out that you tried to talk to Andrew behind our back or anybody that he's associated with to see if he wants to play ball, we coming after your ass. That's what this tweet says pretty much. That's what bitch ass dudes do. Because, see, it'd be one thing if the Titans did it. That's a divisional foe. That's a family member. Oh, yeah, I'm slapping them on the wrist. Be one thing if an AFC opponent did it. Yeah. Y'all think y'all gonna get away with that? Nah, we gonna get your ass. But it's an NFC team that you see once every, 4 to 5 years, depending on how the schedule falls, 3 years maybe, at the earliest. And you want to go out of your way to make sure that they have some type of action taken against them? Like, why? Like, now you snitching for no reason. If Washington's docked the first round pick, how does that benefit you? You're not getting the first round pick. It's just nobody gets the first round pick. So how does that benefit you? If Washington's docked a second or a third round pick, how does that benefit you? The only thing that I can say is in the Eagles case with Jonathan Gannon, they forced the Eagles and the Cardinals to flip-flop third rounders. The Cardinals had like the second or third, pick in the third round, and the Eagles were all the way in the back of the third round, right? Because they were the Super Bowl runner-ups. So that helped them move up, 28 spots in the round. I mean, that makes a difference. But what if we're better than you? How does that benefit you? What if we're better than you in 2023? Which I expect us to be. I expect your team to suck ass. What if you're 5-12 and we're 9-8? Flipping picks isn't going to help you. We don't have a pick that's earlier than yours. So I don't really know what the benefit is. He just snitching to just snitch. He's your bitch ass dude. I never liked Jim Irsay. And now, just when he was starting to get into my good graces, he's doing that bitch ass shit again. He was doing that bitch ass shit when we went and got Carson Wentz. And he's doing it again. He's showing his true colors. We know he a bitch ass dude. But enough on him. Let's turn the tables and look at it, because we've already talked about John Keim's angle. We already talked about Jim Irsay's angle. Now let's talk about Ron Rivera and Martin Mayhew's angle. Okay? Because of all the people that I'm upset with, if this is in fact true, and if there's going to be any punishment for this, of all the people that I'm upset at them the most. Because you should know better. And I don't put anything past this group, because this is the same dude that didn't know we were about to be eliminated from the playoffs when we lost to the Cleveland Browns. This is the same guy that didn't know. So I put nothing, after that situation, I put nothing past Ronald Rivera. Nothing. Okay? Martin Mayhew seems like a good dude, but he also seems like a guy that can be gullible enough to fall for, thinking that they weren't going to be caught doing something like this. If they, in fact, contacted anybody associated with Andrew Luck last offseason, the offseason of 2022, going into the 2022 season, which was last offseason, when we were desperate for a quarterback, Ron Rivera and his staff should be fired immediately. I'm not bullshitting. That is so negligent on their part if they have anything to do with this. If there's any legs or validity to this, that should be an offense that they should be terminated upon punishment. So maybe they get through this year. I don't care if Ron led us to a 12-win season this year. If they come out next offseason and say, hey, we need y'all second-round pick, I want them fired on the spot. because I can't deal with that type of incompetence. I just can't. Because you already, first of all, the fact that you being the Commanders, one of the worst run organizations in football, do you really think Andrew Luck is going to come out of retirement and say, you know what? I want to play for the Washington Commanders. You really think he's going to do that? Even if he was thinking about playing football. I'd imagine a lot of teams contacted Barry Sanders when he retired. Not just the Detroit Lions. I'm pretty sure a lot of teams say, hey, Barry, you still interested, man? We got a spot for you here. Nobody ever punished them for that shit. You know why? Because dudes weren't bitches back in those days. They heard shit. They was like, Barry ain't coming back to play for your garbage-ass team anyway. You just let that shit roll off your back, right? Take a bitch-ass dude that want to try to come after you. However, these ain't those days. Those days are long gone. There's something called social media now. And there's pressure to make sure that people are punished for shit that they do. And social media is the way that people make sure that shit gets done. So whether you feel like it's a punishable offense or not, social media will come out and they will force the hand. That's what the cancel culture does. They force the hand of people to do things that they may not necessarily want to do. But public pressure is a bitch. But that doesn't matter because he was never coming out of retirement. 1. 2, he was never coming out of retirement to play for your dumbass. If this is in fact true. And if it's not, I take everything back and mistakes were made. But I believe John Keim when he said that Washington reached out to Andrew Luck in some capacity. I believe him. You really think Andrew Luck was going to come out of retirement to play for the Commanders? Like when you decided, hey, when you ask somebody, hey, what's Andrew Luck's number? You don't, okay, what's his agent's number then? When you started asking questions like that, you really never stopped to think, would he actually play for us? Like, he's under contract with the Colts. How do we even get him? How do we even go about that? You think the Colts are just going to stand by and say, hey, all right, Andrew wants to play for you guys. He doesn't want to play for us. All right, what are you looking at for a deal? Like, what are you trying to, what do you want? You know, you think the Colts are actually going to start entertaining and fielding offers? Like, they're in a position like, if Andrew ain't playing with us, he ain't playing ball with us, he ain't playing with nobody. They on some, I mean, I just told you we dealing with a bitch-ass dude. So he's on some, hey, either he's playing with us or he ain't playing with nobody. We taking our ball and we going home. That's the type of shit they on. That's the type of time they on. So you really think you was going to get Andrew Luck any damn way? Like, what are you thinking? If you thought that this was a good idea, you need to wash your face. Get your mind right. It's one thing to call a team about a quarterback that you know you will not have any chance of getting, i.e. Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and Justin Herbert. It's one thing to phone the team and have them bang on you. Boom. Dun. Well, damn, that went like I thought it would go. And it's another thing to go around that team, back channel style, circumvent them, and go straight to the source, as if he's still not under contract with that team. You got to be outside your damn mind if you thought that shit was okay. And maybe you thought, hey, I mean, what's going to happen? They ain't going to do shit. Maybe you thought because of the old way of doing things, there won't shit going to happen. Well, you were wrong. And I'm telling you right now, if it's a day 1 or 2 pick, fired on the spot. I want him gone. If it's a 5th round pick, I ain't tripping. But you on a short ass leash. But if it's a day 1 or 2 pick, if it's a 1st, 2nd, or 3rd, I want him gone. Because that's incomprehensible. But again, we're dealing with a dude who didn't know we could be eliminated from the playoffs last year with a loss to the Browns and a subsequent win by the Green Bay Packers. We're dealing with a dude that didn't know. So just by virtue of that, I don't put anything past these dudes. But I'm the most upset with them because they knew the rules and they just said to hell with them. We don't care. This situation just has me all kinds of hot and bothered. Because we don't need this shit. And it'd be one thing if Irsay said, if Daniel Snyder's still your owner because I don't rock with him, I'm going to just do it strictly off of principle. Just because I don't like that dude. I want him gone. Yeah, I wouldn't even be mad at that. I wouldn't be happy about it, but I wouldn't be mad about it. But we about to get new ownership. He's on his way out. Like, you don't even need to do this. Can't we all just get along? Like, why does this have to be? We always in the middle of some shit. Why we can't just be? We always got to do some dumb shit. And for all of those people out there that say this is why Rivera got to be fired, I'm not fighting you right now. I'm on your side. I'm not fighting you right now because this is stupid. We shouldn't be talking about this. We should be talking about, is Sam Howell going to have 25 touchdown passes this upcoming season? Is Jahan Dotson going to eclipse 1,000 yards this year? Do we have 2,000-yard receivers in Washington for the first time since 1999? No, since 2015, maybe? Maybe it was 16. I think it was 16. I think Deshaun and Pierre still had 1,000 in 16. I know they had it in 15. I don't know if Pierre had it in 16 or not. Whatever the case may be, since 15 or 16. But we're not talking about that right now. We're talking about, are we going to be docked a draft pick behind some foolishness? I'm going to just get out of here, man. Because at this point, I'm just ranting now. At this point, I don't really have anything else to add to the subject matter. I've said everything that I needed to say. We've attacked it from all angles. From the John Keim angle, I wish John wouldn't have disclosed this information. Everything isn't for you to share with the masses. Some things, they don't have to tell you, hey, don't say nothing. If somebody tell you something and you know this is some sensitive information, I probably shouldn't say anything. You should just understand the code of law and just not say anything. And somebody might have said it to him in passing, like, they even called Andrew Luck to find out if he wanted to play. I mean, they're uncovering every stone. They're not leaving any stone uncovered, man. They could have said it to him in passing like that, and it might have made John feel comfortable with throwing that shit out there. Either way, it didn't need to be said. But I'm not mad at John. At the end of the day, this comes down to, did Ron Rivera and company break the rules of the league for a dude that they didn't have? It'd be one thing if they had a chance to get him. Like, he grew up a Redskins fan. His dream was to play for the organization. He grew up in the DMV. And, hey, you just wanted to shoot your shot. Andrew Luck don't have no ties to this organization. Why the hell would he want to come play for the goddamn Commanders? You had no shot. You ready to risk a pick over that shit? You got to be out your damn mind. And then Irsay. Just because. I want to punish people just because. Being a bitch ass dude, being a bad. He ain't no better than LP. Shit is sickening. Anyway, I digress. That's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on this installment of the Command Post. You know what it is. Post up. Take command. Look, if any developments with this story come about, I'll be back. We're not going to hear anything about it, this soon. I don't know if you guys saw, but the NFL isn't sure that the schedule will be released this week. They don't know if the schedule makers will be ready. Like, it's not easy to put these schedules together. So even though I'm like, what have the schedule makers been doing this entire time? Like, isn't your job to make the schedule? What have you been doing? This shit should be done by now, but we'll see. Roger is supposed to be meeting with some people today to figure out if they're going to be ready by Thursday or not. If not, they'll push it back. We'll see. But in any event, unbelievable. Even when we trying to do right, we still find a way to do bad shit. We just can't win. Again, until Daniel Snyder is officially gone, this black cloud doesn't leave us. You guys do understand that, right? As long as he's here, we still are going to have to deal with this shit. He's not gone quite yet, and we're still getting rained on. This does not end until he's gone. Officially gone. He can't leave fast enough. And if this is true, take Ron with your ass and all of his cohorts, all of his cronies. Anyway, I digress. I'm out of here. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. Leave your comments down in the comment section. How do you feel about this, man? I just thought this was old news. I didn't think we were going to have to deal with this. But we're the Commanders. Here we are. Leave it down in the comment section how you feel. I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.